Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I will mute you all. I have just started the recording. Okay. So 54 participants have joined till now. So I mute all of them and I start the lecture. So good afternoon, all of you. Yesterday we have
Good afternoon.
learned. Okay, good afternoon. Yesterday, we have learned about certain basics of homeopathic mathematics. I have communicated with your first year teacher of mathematics, and they have told me that only few students used to attend the mathematics lecture in the first year because there were no exams. So whatever is taught in the first year, we will have to again study because most of you are unaware about that introductory part of mathematics. And that mathematics part is very essential because it is just like a foundation of rest of the mathematics. And once you understand this foundation or journey in the second year, third year, final year with respect to mathematics, it will become more easy, it will become more fruitful, and it will also become more useful. So mathematics is, we must say that it's a homeopathic mathematics. That this homeopathic mathematics is not only about drugs and their symptom, and you have to mug those symptoms and you have to write in the exam and forget those symptoms. It is absolutely a wrong concept. Mathematics, more precisely the homeopathic mathematics, is your lifelong companion till you breathe, till you breathe for your last breath. And if you are a homeopathic physician, you need to practice, you need to learn this mathematica, you need to revise this mathematica more and more frequently. Now it will happen again and again with the help of books of mathematica, but the basics of homeopathic mathematica, unfortunately they are not mentioned in the textbook of homeopathic mathematica. The homeopathic mathematica textbooks usually begin with a short preface, with a short introduction, and it directly jumps with the detailing of drug and symptoms. So it is very essential to understand this basics of mathematica, basics of homeopathic mathematica. And yesterday we have learned something about this homeopathic mathematica. And basically, I must now begin with the definition of homeopathic mathematica. So homeopathic mathematica is nothing but a subject, important subject in a homeopathy, which deals with which is a record of symptoms of drug proved on healthy human beings of both sexes, and it is then systematically arranged. So basically, it is a book. Basically, it is a storehouse. It is basically a collection of symptoms of a specific drug. And the Mathematica only focuses on the symptoms. Unfortunately, there is no quick reference to this basics of homeopathic mathematica. It is scattered all over our homeopathic books. Like some part is given in the organon, some part is given in the pharmacy, some part is given in the mathematica, etc. And before we start the actual study, of a specific drug, we must be well aware about this basics of Medicare. So I will go into the details of this basics of Medicare. And yesterday we have learned something about this homeopathic Medicare, and now today I have told you the definition that it is a record of symptoms of a specific drug which are been artificially produced by certain artificial dynamic agents on healthy human beings of both sexes. Now here we will see now what is this materia medica. We have seen that the homeopathic materia medica is a reservoir of symptoms and drugs. And then yesterday we have seen a few things about how this subject is important, what is the interrelation of this subject with the other subject. And today we'll again just shortly revise this, what is the importance of the subject and what is the interrelationship of homeopathic materia medica with other homeopathic subjects and with other allied subjects also. And then we will today, there is in your syllabus, there is one big heading in the before starting of a specific drug that the second year BHMS student must be thoroughly well aware with the science and philosophy of homeopathic materia medica. Now, yesterday we have seen that this homeopathic materia medica is a very important subject, while organon and repertory deals with few aspects. So, organon deals with the principles, concept, and guidelines for implementation. Repertory deals with the index of symptoms of homeopathic materia medica, and materia medica deals with reservoir of artificial drug disease. But finally, actually, the subject which is going to help us in prescribing the medicine is homeopathic materia medica. The more you are thoroughly knowledge with homeopathic materia medica, your prescriptions will be more accurate, and rest of the subject like homeopathic repertory, organon, we might say it is a theoretical part of homeopathy, but actually the homeopathic materia medica is the action of all this theory. And once you understood all this theory which is there in the organon materia medica, and if you are equipped with this knowledge of homeopathic materia medica, your medicine selection will be more accurate, it will be more precise, and it will further guarantee the cure, which is mentioned in the aphorism number 2. So, homeopathic materia medica deals directly with the action of homeopathic physician. What action he takes? Now, this action is in terms of selecting a specific medicine. Whether he selects 4 medicines at a time, whether he selects 1 medicine at a time, and whether he prescribes mother tincture, whether he prescribes potency, it all depends upon how much knowledge of homeopathic materia medica has been gathered by that specific homeopathic student or specific homeopathic physician. So, materia medica is a more important subject as compared to homeopathic repertory organon, because it directly deals with the action which has been taken by homeopathic physician, and this action is always more important rather than the theoretical part. Then in this in the previous lecture we also studied that this subject homeopathic materia medica is also interrelated with other homeopathic subjects like organon, homeopathic repertory, and homeopathic materia medicum. Something is common in between all this subject, and if you know what is a common thing, you can study the respective subject more, and it will increase your knowledge of homeopathic materia medica. Then it is also well related with the other subjects. Other subject means the other allied subjects. Now, unfortunately, the students of homeopathy study homeopathic materia medica isolatedly, and he considers that homeopathic materia medica needs to be studied in isolation. It has no connection with organon. It has no connection with reperty. It has no connection with pathology, forensic medicine, toxicology, surgery, obstetric gynecology, medicine, and homeopathic pharmacy. But it is well related with all these subjects. More you know about this subject, and more you try to implement, more you try to correlate all this subject with homeopathic materia medica, your knowledge of homeopathic materia medica will be more clear, and this clarity will reflect further in your practice. So whenever you study all the subjects, you must have that keen eye that how this subject could be correlated with homeopathic materia medica, or vice versa. When you study homeopathic materia medica, you must be correlated. You must try to correlate. What is the correlation of this thing, this symptom, in pathology? What is the correlation of this symptom in the forensic medicine and toxicology, and what is its implementation in surgery, and so on. So to summarize, the subject homeopathic materia medica needs to be studied in correlation with other subjects and other important allied subjects. Now this is how the homeopathic materia medica is constructed, that we'll come to know. Now the materia medica in other sciences, now it is not only the property of homeopathic science. It is not only the materia medica is only present in the homeopathy. It is also present in the other science. It is also present in the other pathies. Now, for example, if you study the modern medicine, what we term today it as a allopathy. In that allopathy or in the modern medicine, there is a long history of materia medica, and in that long history of materia medica, somewhere it has started with the Hahnemannian era, where Hahnemann has started translation with lot many materia medica to earn his bread and butter. And in that translation of Cullen's materia medica, he has also come across the well-known translation of Cinchona, and from that Cinchona, he has discovered the similia similis currenta. So we all know that. So in the modern medicine or in the allopathy has their own materia medica. In the time of Hahnemann, there was Cullen's materia medica. Now today, that is in the 20th century, it has been developed to the pharmacology. It is nowadays it is called as modern pharmacology, and whatever medicines or whatever drugs which have been selected by a modern medicine physician, they are taken from this pharmacology. And in Ayurveda also they have their own materia medica, and it has been termed as a Dravya Guna Chikitsa. That means, for example, if they study botanical plant Arulsa, now that they will study that Arulsa plant in a very minutely. What is the chemical property? What is the physiological property? What are the changes are produced when we take this crude adulsa? And so they have their own system of materia medica, which has been thoroughly well explained under this subject, Dravya Guna Chikitsa. Now, with respect to this Dravya Guna Chikitsa, I have one small story of certain rishis. Now, there was a one Rishi. So we know all that in the previous time there was a schooling was used to be in the form of Gurukul. So in the Gurukul there was one Shishya who has been learned from the Guru, and at the time of leaving that Gurukul, he has asked to the Guru that what Guru Dakshina what Guru Dakshina you would like to take from me. And at that time that Guru has given order to that Shishya. Now you find out the order of that Guru was, you find out the substance on earth which do not has certain medicinal properties, and by accepting the order of that guru, he had started finding out the substance on the earth which do not have any medicinal properties, and that search has been resulted into the materia medica of Ayurvedic science, and that has been later on termed as Dravya Guna Chikitsa. Then in the Unani system of medicine, they have their own materia medica in terms of Unanity. Then in Siddha system of homeopathy, which is in practice in the south part of India, they have also their own literature in their mother tongue. I can't translate you, but they have their own literature which describes the medicinal properties of various substances. So there is also materia medica in the other science. So similarly, we also have materia medica in homeopathy, and that materia medica in homeopathy is called as a homeopathic materia medica. And then we'll study uh, what is the difference between this materia medica and the materia medica of other science. Now, when we study homeopathic materia medica and when we compare the materia medica of other sciences, we come to the knowledge that homeopathic materia medica has definitely its unique science and the unique philosophy. And if you study the difference, you will come to know what is the unique science and philosophy of homeopathic materia medica. So in the modern medicine, it has been always been compared, the homeopathic materia medica is always compared with the pharmacology, and in that pharmacology we always feel inferior. See how the modern pharmacology is advanced, how they are doing research at the level of cell, how they are doing research at the level of receptors, how they are doing research at the various molecular level, and see our homeopathic materia medica. So we always have this comparison with modern pharmacology and homeopathic materia medica. But for a homeopathic physician or for a homeopathic student, homeopathic materia medica is not only a collection of drug and its symptom, but it has its unique science and philosophy, which we also need to understand if we want to practically implement that homeopathic materia medica. And now today's lecture will more focus on this uniqueness of homeopathic materia medica in terms of science and philosophy. So before going to that, we will first study what is the difference between homeopathic materia medica and then that of pharmacology of modern medicine. Now in the pharmacology of this modern medicine, basically there are lot many preclinical studies are conducted in the animals, and in that preclinical study in the animals they do lot of animal experimentation, and this animal experimentation is not at all done, it is not at all permitted in homeopathic materia medica. But the pharmacology, whenever they develop a new drug, whenever they start developing a new drug, whenever they start using a new drug, they have to understand what is the preclinical study in the animal, what is the effect of this specific drug in the animals. And so accordingly, they if you visit to the laboratories of modern pharmacology, they have various albinos, and albino is a kind of white mice, and that albino they are been using specifically because you find that there is a lot of similarity between this albino anatomy, physiology, and that of a human being. So most of their preclinical study is in the animals, and then they later on they do the clinical trials, and this clinical trials basically have 5 phases. And the first phase is that they involve the healthy volunteer, and when they involve these healthy volunteers in the clinical trials, their objective is only identifying whether this drug is safe for the human being and what is the maximum tolerance dose for this specific drug in the human being. But on the contrary, homeopathic materia medica neglects the study on the animal, and it takes the help of multiple sources like toxicology and whatever information is given in the other pharmacopoeia. Now, toxicology, it is a study of science of toxins. Now in this you will study when your syllabus will go ahead what is the toxicology. It means that there are certain drug substances, if you take it accidentally or purposefully, there are certain effects, and these effects are recorded in that specific science, and that is toxicology. For example, in north states like UP, Bihar, there is a tradition of taking bhang on Holi or on Mahashivratri, and this bhang is nothing but the a kind of narcotic drug. And if it is taken up to certain limits, it produces no symptom. But it is if it is taken beyond certain limits, it produces certain symptoms. Similarly, all this study is given in the toxicology. Similarly, ganja, you must be knowing this ganja. You must be knowing alcohol, which is ethyl alcohol, methyl alcohol, strychnine poisoning, rockel poisoning, kerosene poisoning, sodium fusic acid poisoning, etc. So, poisoning study is been important, and it has been few information is taken from the toxicology, and certain information is also taken from the other pharmacopoeia. Now in this I would like to take some example of Indian drugs. Now there are also certain Indian drugs in our homeopathic materia medica. The one important drug is Arjuna, so Arjuna martima, and another is Azardica indica. Now how the idea of these two drugs should be proved and it should be included in the homeopathic materia medica was observed by, they have studied, certain homeopathic physicians, they have studied the Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia, and they have come to know that these are the two drugs which are very important and they must be studied. And so they have taken information from other Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia, and then they have potentized those medicines, and they have done the human proving, and then they have been included in the homeopathic materia medica. So the difference is very much clear that in the modern pharmacology there is a preclinical study in the animals. In homeopathic materia medica, it has been taken from multiple sources like toxicology, other pharmacopoeia, and in contrast with the phase 1 clinical trial of modern pharmacology, the homeopathic materia medica 100% relies only and only on the human proving. This is the main difference between homeopathic materia medica and modern science pharmacology. I will again summarize that in homeopathic materia medica, there is no scope for animal study. There is no studies at the level of cellular level. There is no study at the level of molecular level. But it focuses more on the human provings. Now, why so much importance has been given to the provings on the healthy human being? Whatever information is given in the homeopathic materia medica, it has been directly taken only and only from human proving. Human proving. Hardly 10% or 15% information in homeopathic materia medica is gathered from other multiple sources. So after, I hope you have understood this difference between homeopathic materia medica and pharmacology. So far, just to recapitulate, what we have studied is what is the importance of homeopathic materia medica, how that homeopathic materia medica is well related with other subjects, then every pathy or every science has its, every healing science has their own materia medica, and the difference between homeopathic materia medica and modern pharmacology. Then further we'll see uh, that how the homeopathic materia medica is considered. So, in the first difference between homeopathic materia medica and pharmacology, we have understood that homeopathic materia medica is unique. It focuses more on the healthy human being provings, and this healthy human being provings focusing more on the healthy human beings has certain unique science and philosophy which we are going to focus today. Now, how before focusing on the science and philosophy of homeopathic materia medica, let us also understand how the homeopathic materia medica is constructed. So these are the three steps of homeopathic materia medica construction. Now, in the first step, what is done is a drug proving. So you have studied this drug proving thoroughly in the homeopathic pharmacy. Now, in this drug proving, you know what is done. I will not repeat it. And after drug proving, what happens? So drug proving do not involves only a one person. It involves multiple person, and every person is has given a book, and that book is called as a daily book or prover's diary, and in that prover's diary they record all the symptoms. So at the end of finishing of this experiment of drug proving, the main in charge of that drug proving collects all these daily books from various drug prover, and they analyze and rearrange whatever symptoms has been observed or whatever symptoms has been felt by the prover. And for example, uh, I will give example. I will take example of proving of a pulsatilla. So there are 100%, 100 persons were involved in the proving of pulsatilla. So these 100 persons have maintained their 100 daily books, and in that daily book they have written thoroughly what they have failed on the first day, what they have failed on the second day, what they have failed on the third day, fourth day, till the last day of the whole course of drug proving experiment. And that daily book records now all the effects of pulsatilla of failed by a single person. So if 100%, 100 persons are involved, the prover or the main coordinator will collect all those prover the daily book, and he will study that daily book thoroughly, and he will come to know that out of this 100 persons who have participated in the uh, proving of pulsatilla, 75 persons have felt this symptom of thirstlessness. 80 uh, persons have felt this symptom of weeping without any cause, and they go on analyzing all such type of data. And after the end of analysis, they found out that there are some symptoms which are frequently seen by many provers. There are certain symptoms which have been moderately felt by certain provers. Certain symptoms are moderately seen or very less seen in some prover. And accordingly, they have analyzed the whole collection of symptoms in the daily book. And they have come to the conclusion that this is the main characteristic symptom of this drug. And they further focus on this main characteristic symptom, and whatever the symptom they have collected, they will rearrange. So this is the symptom related with head uh, part of human being. This is the symptom related with the chest, including the lungs. So this is the symptom felt in the eyes. This is the symptom felt in the ear. This is the symptom felt at the level of mind, so and so on. So whatever symptom collection they will, the main in charge of proving gets, he analyze it. He analyze in terms of which is what is more frequently seen, what is moderately seen, and what is rarely seen, and he will also rearrange all the symptoms under various headings. So this is a what you can say a rough draft of that specific materia medica of pulsatilla. Then this pulsatilla rough materia medica which is been seen, it is circulated to certain homeopathic physicians, and now this homeopathic physicians prescribe pulsatilla on the basis of totality of symptoms. And when the pulsatilla which has been given on the basis of totality of symptoms, it relieves certain symptoms, and that this relief of certain symptoms is indicate that yes, this is the clinically confirmed symptom, and this clinically confirmed symptoms is again given more importance. And in the same way, the construction of materia medica goes on. So whenever we read a specific drug, let's take example again of pulsatilla. Now this pulsatilla, whenever we read few pages of this pulsatilla, there are lot many years are behind that few pages of materia medica, and that lot many years efforts mainly include these three important steps like drug proving, analysis, in terms of now this analysis is in technical words of materia medica, it is called as grading. So grading indicates which is more seen, which is moderately seen, and which is less seen, and the rearrangement of symptoms under different parts, and then the clinical confirmation. And when these three steps are completed sequentially, thoroughly, then it is said that that materia medica of this is the materia medica of a specific drug. And at the end of every proving, all these things are again confirmed. So and the drugs are again reproved. So every reproving, there is some addition, there is some confirmation of the already existing drugs. So this is how homeopathic materia medica is constructed. Now why this is important? Because already we have seen that how pharmacology, the modern pharmacology information about the specific drug is collected. So initially there is a preclinical study at the level of animal. Then there are 5 phases of clinical trial. The first phase involves human being. Then second phase involves therapeutic exploratory study. Third phase involves therapeutic confirmation trial, and fourth phase involves post-marketing surveillance. So similarly, our materia medica is again constructed on the basis of certain steps, and these steps are the strength of homeopathic materia medica. And I would like to say that these steps are also the weakness of homeopathic materia medica. I again repeat, this construction of homeopathic materia medica with the help of these 3 steps is a strength of homeopathic materia medica. Whatever the scope of homeopathic materia medica we are seeing, it is only because of these 3 important steps. But similarly, whatever limitation is there to the homeopathic materia medica is also because of these 3 important steps. So whatever limitations will be there, so the limitations will be at the level of drug proving, limitations will be at the level of analysis and rearrangement, limitations will be at the level of clinical confirmation. So we'll study, we'll have a separate topic on this scope and limitation of homeopathic materia medica. Just give an example of the limitation of homeopathic materia medica depending upon these three. So, for example, drug proving. So, the important limitations of our drug proving is that the number of participants which were included in this drug proving experiment, it is mainly related with male provers. The number of female provers were less in the drug proving. So whatever symptoms we get in our materia medica, they are mainly related with the male gender. Then there are a lot many mistakes in the process of analysis and rearrangement. That because of this, some symptoms are considered rare, but in practice it has been found very important. And depending upon this analysis, we call certain symptoms more characteristic, certain symptoms less characteristic, and that sometimes that less characteristic symptom become more important. So this is one example of limitation. And similarly, the clinical confirmation we also lack. So I think it's 12:40. So any difficulty, please communicate to me so far. I will go to the next slide. And for before going to the next slide, I would like to take attendance of at this moment by taking the screenshot. Oh, there are 71 participants. So I would request all the participants to join early and in time, because what happens, the more you late join, it happens that I have to spend time in admitting all those things. So this is, I'm just taking a screenshot of all the 71 participants. You wait for that time. I will again reschedule the meeting for remaining 10 minutes. So from tomorrow, I think tomorrow there will be holiday. Let us wait for the further instruction. Now I am unmuting all of you. If you have any query, if you have any doubt, those to whom I have unmuted, leave your feedbacks. Please give your feedbacks in this chat box.